Welcome back to Virtual School Assembly. Today our guest is Dialleo Burks. Dialleo's from Lagrange, Georgia, attended Lagrange High, in which he won a state and national title in football. Burks then went on to Eastern Kentucky University and played 4 years under Roy Kidd. He spent the next 13 years playing in the NFL with the Eagles, Panthers, and Raiders. He also played in NFL Europe, the XFL, and Arena League. So he has been any place you can play football, he has done it. He's now a teacher and a coach at Callaway High School. Dialleo, welcome to the show.
Glad to be here. How's everything?
Doing great. Obviously, things are a little crazy right now with COVID, and that has certainly affected the football world, but we're seeing that now schools are getting into their fall camps, and at least where we're at, people are practicing and getting back into things. Where are you at with as far as your team and your school there? Are you guys practicing now, or is it still on hold?
Yes, we've been cleared. We are full go. Actually, in Georgia, we're one of the few states to really, not really shut down football-wise. We just started a week later with modified workouts. So yesterday was our first day of acclimatization. So we're in it full steam ahead.
Yeah, well, that makes sense. In Georgia, I mean, football is way more important than staying alive and everything else. So makes sense that you didn't shut down. Well, Dialleo, before we get into what's going on right now, let's talk a little bit about your history. Obviously, you had a long career as a football player, but tell us a little bit about growing up in Lagrange and what that was like and how you got started in football in the first place.
Okay, well, I come from a family where I have a younger brother, cousins that's very athletic. And so I grew up, playing all sports. We played them all. Mm-hmm. But unfortunately, I wasn't that kid that was really good in anything. So I had to work extra hard in order just to keep up with, the older guys and, my friends. Right. And so baseball was in my heart. That was my number one deal. And so I played, in rec league up until middle school and, 2 years of high school. But football, I only played 3 years of rec league of football before entering into middle school. And so I was one who always sat on the bench. And, I was at practice every day. Mom was at every game, but I never played. And even into high school, my first 2 years, I sat on the bench, never played. And so my junior year as a wide receiver, I had the most total plays out of all the wide receivers, 327.
Wow.
But I only had 4 catches. That was it, out of 300 and some plays. So my time came my senior year when we had the number one QB in the nation, who was Rodney Hudson. And so he demanded a lot of attention. And a lot of college scouts would come to practice and come around. And so we ended up playing 15 games and in the state championship. So that year, I had 10 interceptions, didn't start defensive back because I played behind a first-round draft pick named Walter Harris, who went to Mississippi State and then got drafted first round by the Chicago Bears. So he ended up getting hurt. He had a knee injury through the first 5 games. And so I was a filler. I just filled in and went in and, like I say, got those stats up and, also played on the other side of the ball. So, like I say, that was a magical year. And through it all, 15 games, state championship, number one in the nation. I only had 4 letters, 4 college letters. That was it. North Alabama, Tuskegee, Eastern Kentucky, and West Georgia. That was it.
Wow.
And Eastern Kentucky was the only one that gave me a full scholarship. So they gave me the opportunity to get out of LaGrange.
Yeah. So a true underdog story then, because not only were you under-recruited, but then from EKU to the NFL, not very many people make that jump, from Eastern Kentucky to the NFL. So walk us through that. How did you go from being this unknown receiver to eventually landing in the NFL and then playing internationally. What happened
Well,
there?
well, once again, Eastern Kentucky, anybody know anything about the Colonels, they was running back youth. And so, they produced a lot of running backs and, just ran the ball heavily. We was guaranteed two running backs were going to get 1,000 yards. And so we never really threw the ball a lot. But I ended up not getting redshirted my first year, played a little bit. And then my sophomore year, junior year, and senior year, I led the team in receiving. But I only caught 30 balls per year. That was it. But I had like 10 touchdowns, and my yards per catch was one of the highest ones in the conference. So we had a projected first-round guy, Jason Dunn, who went to the Eagles. He was drafted at the Eagles' second round together with me as a free agent. And so he brought all the scouts to campus. He had a pro day. Now, I didn't know anything about a pro day. He just told me within 30 minutes of the workout what was going on. And so I got dressed quickly and went over there and worked out. Told him, I said, you're not leaving me here. And in the workout, our quarterback was Greg Couch, who is Tim Couch, his big brother. And so he threw balls to me in the workout. I did not catch one ball. I didn't catch one ball. I mean, he was throwing them in the sand, in the stands. And afterwards, I asked him, I said, man, do you not want me to make it? Just joking around. But he's one of my really good friends. But in the drill work, the L drill, they made me run the drill 6 times. I ran the drill 6 times and didn't know why until afterwards. And they told me, say that you had one of the fastest recorded L drill times out of all the people in the United States. Wow. And so that afforded me the opportunity to get into camp, which the Eagles called a day before I was getting married, just getting out of school. And like I say, everything else was history from there.
Wow. So this is what kids want to hear, right? There are kids watching this video who are thinking, okay, I'm going under the radar. I'm not getting the shot that I want, but yet through your experience, you still managed a 13-year pro career. And all it took was a few things dropping the right way, doing well in the L drill, getting a shot because someone else on your team was getting attention. And so there are opportunities like that crop up. Now, if you could do that all over again, was there anything you could have done to get more visibility or to get more attention from scouts or anything like that? Or did it go as well as it could have?
Well, one thing I would say that you can't control, especially as a coach, is the development process. Mm-hmm. My body wasn't fully developed. Coming from high school, I was 6'1", 155 pounds. Mm-hmm. Going into college. So I wasn't a big weight room guy. Now that would be one of the only things that if I could do it over again, that I would, take a lot of interest in. But I didn't have the confidence that I needed because I was so small, right. And weak. And so, at that time, if you weren't, lifting 3 plates or benching, 225, you was considered the bottom of the barrel.
Right. And
so my self-esteem and confidence, when where it needed to be to overcome that. And so, I just went on ahead and like I said, just kept working. But to do it all over again, that would be one of the things that I would do over. But people have to understand the development of kids' bodies, and where they are. Now, mentally, I was way ahead of the curve because we had a lot of guys that came from my high school that went pro. We had 20, I think we were right at 21 guys now. Wow. NFL guys that came from my high school. So I was able to see, the path that a lot of them was taking because they were my, childhood heroes growing up. So I was able to watch how they maneuver, how they work. They would come back and work with us. And they would just give knowledge, that way. So mentally, I was there, but physically, I wasn't where I needed to be.
Right. Now, when you played in the pros, obviously you played for a number of different teams, and even did the XFL and Arena League and Europe. What are some of the things that you learned in just moving around so much and being with so many different organizations? What benefit was that to you as you look back at it now?
Well, I often tell my guys that I love the process. I love the process and, learning it from the ground up. I wasn't a draftee, so I didn't understand going to a combine and, going through that process. My thing was, I'm going to give you an opportunity to come in. You're going to run a 40 and you're going to run routes, maybe 5 if that, and that's it. And so taking advantage of the opportunity came part of my DNA. And just understanding that I've always been at the bottom. So now my eyes are set on, so any weakness that you have, if you're above me, I'm going to know that weakness, and now I'm going to try to exploit that, with my game. And so just rising to the top, every league that I've been in, I tried to be that top guy. Now, of course, the NFL was a different beast. It was a different beast. Because money talks. A lot of times the best players are not on the field because of money. But, the respect part of it, I gained a lot of respect from those guys, those superstars, because of the way that I worked and how I competed. So that was fulfilling in itself right there, that those guys recognized, what I could do and really love my game. Now, the other leagues that I played in, hey, I'm trying to be the best, period. That was my mindset. I'm going to try to be the best because I wanted to get back to that pinnacle level of the NFL.
Mm-hmm. So you were able to make a career playing professionally, and now you're on the other side as a coach. So again, still living in the football world. A lot of the kids watching this, they want a career in sports. They want a career in football. What advice would you give that kid that's thinking about pursuing either a professional playing career or maybe just a career as a coach or an analyst or something like that? Those who are looking to go into sport as a profession, what advice would you give those kids?
I would say, one, really figure out if this is what you want or not, because it's not about the good days. It's not about the good days. It's about the days where you go in and you don't have fun. I often tell my guys now, I said, I haven't worked a day in my life because this is what I want to do. This is what I love. This is my passion. I'm not doing it for the glory. I like the way the grass is cut. I like the way the lines are on the field. So I'm looking at those minor details that people often take for granted, and that's what I love. And that's what I try to get these kids to understand. Whatever it is that you want in life, you have to love it. This have to be your passion. And so with me, I would say, first of all, if this is your love, go and get it. Don't let nothing stop you because it's going to be a tough road. It's going to be a tough road. Number 2 is build your network. Build your network. Your coaches are your first line of defense. They're your first line. A lot of people don't like coaches, no players. Well, I don't like this coach because he's driving me to be the best, and you just can't recognize, because I was the same way. Some of the coaches I hated in high school, I love those guys today because I get it. At that time, I didn't get it. So coaches are in the profession to, yes, coaches want to win. They don't want to lose. So you're not the best point in time, period. It's nothing personal. And so I would say that build relationships because they have other people that they know that can help you out as well. And then thirdly, understand you are a brand. You're building your brand. So if you want a career in football, why should I pick you? Why are you different than anyone else that in Iowa or New York or Florida? Why should I pick you? And so you have to bring something special to the table, and you have to be unique in your way. And the answer to that is just doing the best that you can each and every day and refuse to lose, period. Refuse to lose. Losing is not an option in anything, in work ethic, in gameplay, practice. Losing is not an option. You have to win every single rep every day.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's great advice. Well, Coach, thank you so much for being on the show today and giving this advice to kids who are looking at a future in sport. Really appreciate your time and being able to hear your story and your journey.